Welcome to the Stature Icon Podcast, where we help you find the courage to stand tall and shine bright. I'm your host, Jalal Wilson, and I believe that each and every one of you is a stature icon. In each episode, we'll explore challenges we face on our journey to self-discovery and personal growth. We'll discuss strategies to overcome obstacles, build confidence, and unlock your true potential. Whether you're seeking motivation, inspiration, or practical advice, the Stature Icon Podcast is here to support you every step of the way. So if you're ready to break through perceived limitations, embrace your inner icon, and make a positive impact on the world, you've come to the right place. Let's stand tall together and shine bright. You ever read something and feel like you just got punched in the face, like pow, just somebody just punched you? Well, I have, and I did today, and it is the subject of our conversation today. It says, you can never become a great man or a woman until you have overcome anxiety, worry, and fear. And this was by Wallace D. Wattles in the book How to Become Great. The Science of Becoming Great. And I was like, man, like, what do you mean? And how does that work? Like, why can't I become great? Why I still got a little bit of anxiety or worry or fear in my life? And he goes on to say in the next sentence, it is impossible for an anxious person, a worried one, or a fearful one to perceive truth. And I thought about that it is actually pretty deep, because first, let's go back. We gotta describe. I mean, we gotta go to Webster's dictionary and let's get some definitions, because I think sometimes we have these terms, but do we really know what they mean? So according to Webster, what does it say? It says anxiety, an apprehensive, uneasy, or nervousness, usually over impending or anticipated ill. Now, fear is an unpleasant, often strong emotion caused by anticipation or awareness of danger. Worry, mental distress or agitation resulting from concern, usually for something impending or anticipated. Now, that is very interesting. When we look at all three of these definitions, the thing that sticks out to me is that these are all things. Stature Icons, this is Jalal Wilson with breaking news. We are on episode number 50. Yes, this is the 50th episode of the Stature Icon Podcast. I cannot believe this. We made it, baby. 50 episodes. Now I'm going to let you get back to the episode. We made it, baby. 50 episodes. Let's go. We're anticipating. They actually haven't happened. We're anticipating that they are going to happen. We're bracing ourselves for the fact that they are going to happen. That's crazy when you think about it. They're all, it's different words, but they're all pretty much saying the same thing. That is very interesting to me, because I hadn't thought. This is probably the first time I've ever looked up the definition of those three words. It's amazing that is what this means. Now, how does this play out for us stature icons, and why does this matter? Why does this matter? Because one, we all have greatness inside of us. But we have greatness inside of us. But like the book was saying, if we have this anxiety, fear, and worry going on, how can we have time to figure out how to use the greatness? How do we have time to pursue the greatness? How do we do all that? We won't have time or even the mental capacity to be able to do that. It's kind of like a block. We're just placing a block over our minds, and with that block on, it creates this thing where we basically, it's like a force field where we can't bring anything that we need into our realities because we got this force field that's blocking everything in front of us. And I think about this type of stuff as soon as I read it because I see how even in my journey, my own journey to live out what I believe a stature icon is, there is definitely been some anxiety around it because one, nobody's had heard of a stature icon, and here I am saying, well, I'm going to put out what a stature icon is. I'm going to live the maxims of a stature icon. Well, people would be like, well, what the heck is a stature icon? Who is a stature icon? How did you come up with the stature icon? What gives you the authority to be a stature icon? Like all these things. And then when I started thinking about those things, it kind of gave me a little bit of, anxiety around what I'm doing. And kind of like, who am I to want to be able to do this? Or who am I to make this happen? It kind of like, I started thinking all those type of thoughts. You know what I'm saying? And it was interesting. So reading this definition, it kind of makes sense on why, I would start, stop, and those type of things because I had anxiety over the situation. I want you to think about your life. A lot of the things with the stature icons is one of the areas that we have struggled with is height related insecurities. And these feelings, they manifest themselves in various aspects of our lives. They'll manage themselves in social settings, professional environments, or, even during personal reflection where you're just thinking about, well, dang, if I was only this or I was only that. Well, you are this or you are that, but it's a matter of your anxiety around what might happen if you believe that you're this or that causes you to believe you're not. And that's hard, man. Like, how do you, that's like a hard thing to, one, tell yourself and realize about yourself, because who wants to realize that, hey, I've got this anxiety around my height or who I am or what I'm about, and it appears when I'm out in these social settings or when I'm out at work or whatever. You don't go for the promotion because, you think that because of your stature that you don't deserve it. And that keeps you from being great. You may have been the best person for that promotion because you would have gone in there and done an amazing job and done things for the company that nobody else could do. But because you had that anxiety, you blocked your own greatness. And that's hard, man. We got to stop doing that. It's hard. And even when we think about, fear, man, fear is such a interesting one. I remember at times, being afraid to, in social settings, go up and talk to people because of all the fear of rejection, the fear of, them not liking me, just fear of what could possibly happen if I went up there, if I spoke, or whatever the case may be. All this fear around that stuff, and just like it paralyzes you. And I think a lot of men are paralyzed by the fear of what can happen when they approach women. What happens if she turns me down? How do I, be able to still look at myself in a way that pursues the greatness that I know I have inside of me? I heard something yesterday, and it was pretty funny. It was a guy. He said when he goes into a social setting or a bar, when he approaches women, how he looks at it is he is going to look for the woman with good taste. So if he gets rejected by a woman, all he tells himself is, she's not the one. She didn't have good taste. And then he's off to the next because he understands that a woman who has good taste will see how tasteful he is. And I love that thought process of the way we can, change our minds to see things differently and not allow us to be handicapped by fear. So I think that was interesting. And worry, man, worry. I fall guilty of this one a lot. Especially when I'm doing things like this podcast or when I'm doing the podcast, I worry that sometimes all my efforts are in vain. Like nobody's gonna see that podcast. Nobody's gonna listen to it. Nobody cares about Stature Icon. Nobody cares about me. That's how I feel sometimes when I record these episodes. It gets me to thinking, like, how silly is that? To worry about the thing that I cannot control. And so I want you to think about in your life, right? Even if we go back to the dating situation or trying to meet people or applying for things, right? You do not control the outcome. You only control your actions. So you can technically eliminate worry by knowing that you are the only thing you're responsible for is your actions in this. And the rest of it is going to play out however it plays out. But if you believe in yourself when you're going about these actions, you got a better chance of it playing out in your favor. Like, confidence, they say confidence is king. And think about it, if you go into a social setting and you got your head down and you're walking up to somebody, man, the chances of that going bad are like probably 100%. But if you walk into that room, you got confidence, you got swag, your breath smell good, and you the man, and you walk in there, you're like, hey, ladies, or hey, sir, whatever. Man, they're going to see that confidence exuding off of you. And whatever they do, your confidence is going to influence them. And so whatever they decide to do in that moment, that's on them. But I'm telling you, if you come in there confident, believing in yourself, regardless of your stature, because you know that you are a stature icon and there's nothing that you can't do or be when you believe in yourself, because your job is to stand tall and shine bright. And you can do that by kicking worry in the nuts and keep going and doing the things that will bring you towards the greatness you seek. And that is my belief. It is something I've learned, and that's part of why this stature icon thing is here. My stature does not define my worth. It's life is a journey. Life is a game, and it's my job, your job, to play it. Wherever you are now, you're on. Let's just say this is Mario Brothers. You are on level 1. You may be on level 1, right? The thing that your job is to do is to go through level 1 step by step and conquer that level. Beat the boss on that level. And then you're going to go up to the next level and deal with the challenges on that level. And each level that you rise up, it's you kicking shame, you kicking anxiety, you kicking fear, you kicking worry. All of those things, you're kicking it in the nuts. Because the more you can show yourself that you can do these things, hard things, you can overcome, your fear of talking to the woman that you see in the grocery store or whatever it may be. It may not always be women. It may just be your fear of taking off your shirt when you go to the swimming pool. So you're wearing them 65 feet long T-shirts because you're afraid to let somebody see your belly. Whatever it may be. Your job, and I know you can do this, is to let go of the fear and realize that it is blocking your greatness. Your anxiety, your fear, and your worry is blocking the greatness that I know is inside of you. And I think there's some strategies that we could do. Um, and I think the first one I'm going to recommend because it's part of our maxims is to maximize the moment. Maximize the moment is take action. And that is how you maximize the moment. You realize that, hey, yes, I am feeling fearful in this moment, but I know I'm standing tall and shining bright because I am a stature icon. I need to go do what I need to do in this moment. And sometimes that may not even be this super big thing. That may be just doing whatever small thing is you're supposed to do in that moment. Like for me, the small thing that I was supposed to do in this moment was to record this podcast. I thought, hey, I could start dinner. I could, go to the gym. I could do all these other things. But the thing that I knew that I needed to take action on in this moment was this podcast. So for you, it may be, putting away some stuff that you done left laying around for whatever. And in the back of your mind, you should take care of it. Or maybe it's sending an email. You know what it is that you could just take action on right now, that maybe it's a tough conversation that you don't want to have because you're anticipating how that might go. But you need to have that conversation. You need to do that thing. All right? And the next thing is if you think about it, when we think of what anxiety, we think about what fear is, and we think about worry, these are irrational things that haven't happened, that we don't know is going to happen, that we are sitting or tripping over. We got to challenge those thoughts. Like, is this really something to be tripping off right now? Like, I don't even know if this exact thing is going to happen. Should I really be putting any energy into feeling like that, feeling like this? We got to ask ourselves questions. Just think about it. And I don't know who says the quote, but there's a quote that says, thinking is the hardest work most people never do. We have to think. We have to think and challenge these negative thoughts about us, these negative thoughts about our stature, these negative thoughts about who we can be, what we can do, and what we can have. We have to challenge those thoughts. You may be broke now, but it don't mean you got to be broke in 6 months. We got to challenge these thoughts. Who said you have to be broke in 6 months? Who said that? And how did they get to determine that for you? Only you can determine that for you. But that is why we have to challenge these thoughts. And another thing I think we can do is always reach out for support. Because sometimes we just can't get out of our own way. And we may need a friend to support us. And make sure you drop me a line on this. You can drop me a line at shortmannation@gmail.com, because I am there for you. And if you're listening to this on YouTube, drop a comment in the comment section. I'm gonna reply back. Say just, hey man, I need some support, and I'll encourage you. I'll send you an encouraging message. I got you, because that's what we do at Such a Icon. Anyway, and the other thing, we talked about taking action. We talked about challenging the negative thoughts. We talked about seeking support. The last thing I'm gonna say is we have to acknowledge. We need to acknowledge that this is how we feel. Don't lie to yourself. If this is how you feel, this is how you feel. You can deal with it once you acknowledge that is how you feel. Hey, yeah, my fear of Susie Q not answering, not wanting to go out on a date with me is stopping me from asking her. Okay. Now that you've acknowledged that, okay, what you gonna do now? You can make a decision to say, I'm still gonna go for it. Or something I like to do too is just sit there and weigh, like, what is the worst that could happen? Ask yourself the very first question: are you going to die if she doesn't want to go out on a date with you? And the answer better be no, because you ain't. All right. And then if that's okay, you past the death, the death question. Okay. Well, what What else could she could say? No, she's not interested, or she has a boyfriend. Okay. Well, can you live if she happens to say either of those things? If the answer is yes, then what do you lose by asking this woman? If you say to yourself, hey, she might cuss me out. Okay. Will you die? The answer is no. Will it hurt in that moment? But will it matter in 3 months or 1 hour? Probably not. Then make it happen, Captain. That's all I'm saying. And that's all I got for you. And just remember, we cannot become great as long as we allow fear, anxiety, and worry to basically rule our lives. It blocks our greatness. And we are meant to be great. We have greatness within us. Our job is to see that greatness within us so it can come out of us. But it cannot come out of us. We have this invisible force field when we're living in the space of fear, when we're living in the space of worry, when we're living in the space of anxiety. So I need you to cut that out. That's all for this episode of the Stature Icon podcast. Remember, you have the power within you to break through perceived limitations and shine bright. Embrace your inner icon and never stop reaching for your dreams. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, rate, and review the podcast on your favorite platform. Your support helps us reach more listeners and inspire more people to stand tall. For more resources, tips, and inspiration, follow us on social media. That's Stature Icon on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. Until next time, this is Jalal Wilson reminding you to keep standing tall and shining bright. See you in the next episode.